trip. 19 days on the road. All I want to do now is sleep. But I have to stay up half the night and put this trip report together. Well, maybe I can put it off. No, you can't. You said you'd present it at the meeting tomorrow. Okay, all right. Now, where do I start? Well, how about a title? Oh, boy, that's exciting. Well, maybe I should do something a little zippier. No, better stick to the facts. Okay, we visited 14 different locations in 19 days. Oh, boy, it was a killer schedule. I mean, it really affected my lifestyle. Hey, lifestyle. Lifestyle, that's it. Maybe I could call this Lifestyles of the President's Council.
Our next journey to the stars takes us to Northern Telecom and the very prestigious President's Council, where none other than the President himself, Bob Ferchat, has gathered together 45 of NTC's finest and made them all honorary vice presidents.
Since you're now all vice presidents, I think you should know what your job is, right? That will make you unique among my vice presidents.
Then these modern-day Marco Polos are off winging their way to the four corners of North America, full of enthusiasm and eager to find new and creative ways of making Northern Telecom the premier leader in the telecommunications world. And their hosts, some of the world's most successful corporations, the creme de la creme of the Fortune 500. From shop floor to boardroom, it's a close encounter of the corporate kind. As they're entertained and informed by the best in the business, there's definitely never a dull moment.
And every now and then our higher-ups get together also and ask us for lists of...
But food for thought isn't the only thing on the menu, as our corporate connoisseurs sample some of the finest in regional cuisine. Then it's off in their own exclusive, super-stretched private limousine and a chauffeured ride to the city by the bay. The last stop, an exclusive sweatshop retreat where they jog their memories and slim down the mountain of information they've gained during the trip. Their goal, to make Northern Telecom a lean, mean communications machine. And although they're leaving their hearts in San Francisco, they are bringing back a 2020 vision that will help take Northern Telecom into the year 2000.
Nah, that'll never work. I better just tell the story. But where do I start? Ah, yes, Morrisville. Now, I remember when I signed up for the President's Council, we were supposed to go to Europe. And then there were budget cuts, and they told us we were going to Morrisville instead. And I thought, where's Morrisville? And what did I do to deserve this? But when we got there, we saw some really exciting things, and it was in one of our own northern plants. They had what they called a self-directed workforce, where people work in small teams and take responsibility for a lot of the things that managers used to do.
It divides more responsibility up between the people on the floor, where in the past, for an example, your supervisor kept time on you, as in when you were here, your days off, where now it's put on the individual.
They put together their own quality charts, and they manage their own variance analyses and what have you. It's not a manager in the background doing it for them. They do it on their own, and they understand it inside and out.
We don't have anybody standing over our backs, you know. It's just like we take on the jobs and we do them, you know, ourselves, taking on a lot of responsibilities, and I like that.
So the people really like the self-directed workforce. But what's the impact on the bottom line?
Since they've started work in self-directed teams down there, all of their metrics have improved. They have higher quality, lower costs, more productivity, shorter intervals. I mean, it's all coming together for them.
Our objective, quality. Quality is number one. So we got to make the best product on the market. That's our objective, the best, be number one.
Quality was a word we heard a lot in Morrisville, and also at Hewlett-Packard in California.
You build it the best that you possibly can, so that once I turn this product loose, I know I have built it, I have inspected it, and it is as right as I can get it, so that when I give it to you, you shouldn't have any problems with it. Yeah, that's their pride, that's their quality.
And there's some elements of pride quite obvious in the plant. One of the employees on the shop floor had actually taped on the floor an area where he met one of the founders and shook his hand, and to him that was quite something exceptional.
Hi, greetings from Roseville. Hope you come again.
They all have a sense of ownership in this corporation, which I think is phenomenal.
I think the big difference was the ownership that the employees felt. Like if you talk to some of the guys in the line, and they actually said that this piece of equipment in this floor area belonged to them, and this was their piece of the business.
We saw that sense of ownership at CircleCraft. They manufacture circuit boards for a lot of our products, and they also throw a great party. But what struck me was how the people there were really flexible at their jobs. I remember at the start of our tour, we saw a person doing one job, and by the time we finished the tour, he was over doing final inspection. I thought I was seeing double, and that was before the party.
We needed flexibility. We didn't need any more John Waynes working here. Today, under the team concept, it's important that all players know how to build a product from start to finish and help each other out.
Flexibility, responsibility, ownership, teamwork, pride. They all seem to make a difference in the way people felt about their jobs.
I like it very much. I look forward to coming to work. It's not, I have to go to work, I get to go to work.
At the beginning of the trip, we spent a day at Bell Canada in Montreal, and we finally saw how the products we manufacture actually get used in the telephone network. And they also told us a few things about ourselves.
They talked about the fact that our own divisions tend to compete with each other. We're not working as a team, we're not working as one company, we're working as separate divisions. We're not communicating between divisions, between departments, between even individuals.
Communication. Yeah. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. As a matter of fact, the left hand doesn't even know the right hand is there, sometimes.
Time and time again, every time we've gone into a Northern Telecom location, we have learned so much about the company, and they'll come up with fantastic things. Why don't I know about that as a fellow Northern Telecom employee? Why do I have to go on a trip like this to find out what Morrisville has implemented and how successful they are? We can learn from each other, and we're not doing that.
Communication between our divisions. Boy, was that a hot issue. And I guess it was brought home by the fact that suddenly here we were, 45 people from different divisions traveling around, and at last we were communicating. I mean, you'd sit down to dinner and start talking and discover that somebody from another division had already solved a problem that you were struggling with.
We have people who are world leaders in different areas, and it seems that every division has to go through and reinvent the wheel. These experts are there. We can't afford to have the best in the business in every plant, so there should be a concerted effort there to share that information and that talent throughout the company.
I believe that if we had communicated in between all our divisions, that we would have been past Vision 2000 a long time ago.
So here we are, a telecommunications company, and we have problems communicating. But what can we do about it? Well, on the trip, we picked up some tips on how to increase communications. For instance, the Northern plant in Santa Clara had great communication on the shop floor.
At the start of every shift, they have a 15 or 20-minute meeting to discuss the game plan. And it's almost like a locker room discussion, showing what the plays are that we're going to run for that game.
Let's show the numbers. 70.
At Bramalea, they set up a program to share information on the competition.
And it's a 4-day program where we'll be emphasizing the competition we have in Canada, as well as the competition we experience around the world.
In order to beat the competition, companies need fast, free-flowing information. So they're doing everything they can to break down the barriers to communication and get people talking. Hewlett-Packard told us about their open door policy.
You don't have to fight your way past a secretary or a closed door. We invite and encourage people at any level to talk to somebody at any other level. We don't have assigned executive parking places. We don't have executive eating areas. We don't have executive offices that obviously stand out from the rest of the environment. I mean, the idea is here, I think, that if somebody needs something special, is because of their job, then they get it. If somebody wants something special because of their job title, we're not interested.
We eliminated all the things that make us managers. I was told to dress up today for this event, but normally we wear blue jeans, t-shirts, whatever's comfortable, whatever you want to wear. It was real hard getting some people to take their ties off. I was amazed at how hard that was. But see, you can wear whatever you want to wear, your tie or not your tie, it doesn't matter. The point is that if someone sees it as a barrier, then recognize it as such.
I was impressed by Circle Craft. One thing, by the fact that you couldn't tell the employee from management because they worked so close together. The employees seemed to have as much authority as the management had.
We basically eliminated the term supervisors and employees and adopted the philosophy of the team approach, and now we have players and coaches. No bosses, no workers, players and coaches. It's just like in football or any other sport. The coach doesn't coach from the locker room. The coach has got to be out there on the sidelines, right there on the playing field, along with the players.
We've found in our research work that the face-to-face communications effectiveness is the single most important differentiator between a satisfied employee and an unhappy one.
So just when I'm becoming the world's best memo writer, I go on this trip and discover that good old face-to-face is still the most important form of communication. And to encourage face-to-face, Hewlett-Packard even has an ongoing program called MBWA, or Management by Wandering Around.
Managers are not their most effective when they're sitting at their desk. I mean, there are things you have to do at your desk, but your most effective time isn't spent there. It's spent out face-to-face talking with customers, employees, vendors, even competitors, finding out what's really going on, what's really on their mind.
Pet peeve with me is the hierarchy and the structure and the pompous rituals that go on in a big corporation. And those are holding back, success. I'd like to see the general manager come in jeans, maybe one day, talk to the guys on the line, ask them how their weekend went.
Sure, it sounds easy. Just go out and talk to people. But the president of Hewlett-Packard said that one of the hardest things for him to do was to get up from his desk and go out and manage by wandering around. But many companies feel that face-to-face interaction is so important that they actually train people to do it.
We started the working program, a Zinger-Miller training program, which teaches everybody how do you get along with your boss, how do you present problems, how do you get along with your peer, all those things that just managers are supposed to know. That's not true. Why are just managers supposed to know how to get along with other people?
And I stayed home until all my children were raised, and I was 48 years old when I came to work, and they asked me what type of tools that I was proficient at, and I told them a potato peeler and a paring knife and a scissors and needle and thread, and I didn't know what tools they were talking about. I mean, and they hired me. They taught me everything. It's all on-the-job training.
I think that in the 90s, if we refine our communication, that'll be the tool which will bring us closer to our customer and will bring us closer to one another internally, so that we will satisfy not only our external customers, but our internal customers as well.
Now there's a magic word, customers. Here I am near the end of my presentation, and I've almost put the customer last. But we found that the good companies always put the customer first.
I think that the customer and the customer focus was very, very strong in nearly every plant that we went to. Everyone talked about the need to focus on what the customer requires and to make sure that if we are going to survive, that we will give him what he requires, when he requires it.
We feel that very strongly that the customer inputs are what should drive the business and where the business is going.
I learned how to inspect a board by standing behind the BOC rep and watching the way he inspected the board. Well, if you look at the board the way the customer looks at the board, naturally you're going to fix it the way he wants it.
The good news is that we are becoming more customer-focused. At least that's what one of our customers told us.
I think the biggest thing that you've been able to do, I've been associated with Norton for the last 20 years, is that recently, in the last 2 years, you've made me feel as if I was a customer. And I think that's important, that you continue to treat us as one of your most, if not the most important customer.
We are a big company. We deal with a lot of customers. And it's only too easy to think we know what the customer wants. And it's key that we really go out there and ask the customer what he wants and then respond to his needs. I think that's the key to our success.
Another key to our success is staying ahead of our competitors. And on the trip, we saw plenty of competition. As we moved from hotel to hotel, we kept finding telephone systems that were not Northern Telecom. In fact, it seemed like every night I was in bed with our competitors. We found in the U.S., the competition was on everybody's mind.
We're in the world-class manufacturing arena, but in order to stay there, we must continue to improve. So we take time to celebrate, but we never sit back to enjoy it too long because we know that our competition is on our heels.
To a lot of the companies, competition also meant change.
We live in a changing environment, and if we fail to change with the environment, we relegate ourselves to be like the dinosaur. The dinosaur failed to change and meet the new environment in which he found himself. So now he has been changed. He's now fossil fuel, and we use him on our freeways.
I think we'll change everything but the 3 basic beliefs. And we're willing to change everything but those 3 basic beliefs, and that's respect for the individual, service to the customer, and quality as a way of life, quality in everything we do. Everything else is up for grabs, I think, as we continue to evolve and learn.
The only way we'll remain successful is by doing new things, changing the way we do things today. We can't, whatever we do today, well, we'll have to do even better tomorrow. So I've got to be willing, and employees in our organization have to be willing to stick their neck out, take some chances, and in fact, some of them are going to fail. If none of them fail, we're not sticking our necks out far enough.
So companies are trying to encourage innovation in order to stay ahead of the competition. And we also found they're even changing their approach to manufacturing.
Yeah, we have a term around here, make it simple so management can understand it. And our whole idea is to simplify the process, eliminate the number of decisions in each process, eliminate the number of steps in each process.
As we toured the plants at some of these big companies, they kept telling us about manufacturing techniques like JIT and SPC. And as they talked, I nodded knowingly, but I have to admit, I didn't have a clue as to what they were talking about. But then it was all explained to me one night at the D.B. Cooper Bar and Grill, one of the smaller companies we visited during the trip.
Many of the successful companies we visited implemented statistical process control, or SPC, in their manufacturing process, and the D.B. Cooper company was no exception.
This is a typical SPC chart here, monitoring the male-female mix throughout the bar.
This point here would show that there's too many males coming into the bar, and the doorman would have to let some more females in.
This point down here, I think, would indicate that there are too many women on the dance floor, and the DJ would probably play a slow song to encourage the men to get up and dance.
The whole objective of this process is to ensure that customer leaves satisfied.
I was satisfied. Were you satisfied?
Yeah, I was satisfied.
This is the organization chart for the D.B. Cooper company.
And this bar chart really emphasizes the horizontal management structure of this company.
Actually, what this structure allows is for extensive interaction between the customer on one side of the bar and the employee on the other, as well as allowing for extensive interaction between the customers themselves.
And management is really committed to this horizontal structure.
In fact, everyone in the club is committed to becoming horizontal.
The D.B. Cooper company wasn't always the efficient, customer-oriented company that it is today.
For instance, there was a time when this was an acceptable level of inventory on every table, due to the fact that the interval time was so long between actually ordering a drink and getting a drink.
Today, like many other successful companies, the D.B. Cooper company has gone to a just-in-time environment.
Now, when you finish your beer, another one arrives. Just in time.
And it looks like I'm finished this presentation just in time. So, let's see. All I need now is a recap. Well, there's no question the customer goes at the top of the list. And I've covered what we saw happening in the workforce, the changes we saw in the workplace, and the important ingredient, communications. Now, what I need is an ending. Hey, maybe I should let some of the other people sum it up.
I think the key point would have to be, and it's kind of funny because I always said this was really corny before, but your people truly are your most valuable resource, and you have to treat them that way.
I think Northern looks after its employees, you know. I just think that we have to show them that we really care.
I think we have to start paying attention to the little things. And some of the people were saying, you know, if you do 1,000 little things right, you're really going to make a big difference.
I think the best thing about Northern Telecom is the potential that's there. There's people, there's a a great number of really good people, a lot of young people who are vibrant, and I think once the reins are thrown off, the company's just going to race ahead.
Well, that's it. Finished. Well, now at least I can get a few hours sleep before the presentation. So long, computer. Oh, no. I forgot to save it. Oh.